Hey guys, it's me Saran back with another video. It's Wednesday, so happy Wednesday. Before I get into my video, I want to address something housekeeping-ish. Yesterday, in honor of MLK Day in South Florida, there was a huge, protest slash demonstration in Miami in South Florida of people on ATVs and on dirt bikes. I believe they called it like bikes up, guns down, and they were protesting against violence, against police brutality, against all these kinds of things. My husband had emailed me the links, and it was really, really cool, really interesting stuff. And I haven't seen it anywhere. I haven't really seen it posted anywhere. Normally that type of stuff I don't talk about, but I kind of feel like maybe once a week I'll start doing a video about protests or, protests that have occurred or will be occurring. I was thinking maybe Thursdays, because Fridays I'm already going to be doing my Black Friday videos. So maybe like once a week on Thursday, I'll do like a recap of like maybe the major, protests that have happened, because protests are still going on hugely. And I see a lot of people saying like, oh, well, like the protests have died down and the protests have fizzled out and this and that, because they're just not getting a ton of coverage. So if that'll be something that you guys would be interested in, let me know. I'll include some links, just some whatever links to the Miami stuff, because it was really, really cool, really interesting to see. So let me know if that would be something you guys would be interested in, getting some type of protest recap videos once a week. This video is going to be about Anthony Mackie, an actor, a black actor, who revealed himself this week to be one of Pharrell's disciples. He said some really ignorant and, in my opinion, really offensive things about race. He's doing, the press circuit or whatever, because he has this new movie coming out with Kevin Costner called Black and White, which is about race. And ironically, one of the things he said in this interview was they don't have a diversity problem in Hollywood, and the reason why no black actors got nominated was because people are sick of seeing movies about race. Even though he's promoting his movie that he's in about race, even though not every single black movie that came out this year was about race, there was just like so much ignorance in this dude's comments. And I was really surprised, because I liked Anthony Mackie. I really enjoyed him as the Falcon in Captain America and some of his other movies. And now I'm going to have to boycott this nigga. Like, I can't fuck with him anymore. Like, he's one of Pharrell's motherfucking disciples. And I have some other excerpts here from some things that he said. Just some really offensive stuff. My nephew... Okay, turning to the topic of recent nationwide protests against racial profiling, Mackie offered a unique perspective. My nephew wanted to grow dreadlocks. I'm like, fine, I'll sit you down and I'll watch the first 48 with you. And everybody you see on that show that's doing something wrong, they're black dudes with dreadlocks. So do you want to be seen as part of the problem, or do you want to be an individual? I'm so offended. Like, I have dreadlocks. Like, am I seen as a part of the problem just because how I choose to do my hair? And this is also, going back to the video I made yesterday, this is also a part of why people get so upset about cultural appropriation of hairstyles when they see white people wearing, and white girls and white men wanting to like wear dreadlocks and box braids and shit like that. This is a prime example of why people get so upset, because dreadlocks and on black men and braids on black women are seen as one thing. Anthony Mackie, who's black, literally just said everyone that's doing something wrong is a black dude with dreadlocks. Do you want to be seen as part of the problem, or do you want to be seen as an individual? So there's already this assumption that black dudes with dreads are troublemakers. But then you have white people with dreads that are seen as unique and hippies and this and that. And that's part of why people get so upset about the fucking cultural appropriation thing, which white people just don't seem to get, because their white privilege has them like Godzilla stomping through the city like, I do what I want. It's my body. I do what I want. Whatever. Like, that's white people about everything, because their white privilege leads them to believe they could just do whatever they want without suffering the same type of consequences. Anyways, he went on to say, let's just say you have locks and you're walking down the street. The police pull you over and say you fit the description of somebody. Next thing you know, you're pressed up against the wall going to jail for something you're not even involved in just because you look like somebody. And he went on to say some other just absurdly ridiculous things. And I just feel like, you know what? From now on, I'm just cutting these niggas off. Like, I'm not going to keep making videos about respectability politics because respectability politics are so stupid to me. Like, respectability politics are so fucking stupid to me. Like, and I'm sick of saying the same thing over and over because this is exactly what I said in my Kendrick Lamar video. Respectability politics are illogical. They're victim blaming. If you hadn't done X, then Y wouldn't have happened. You know, if you didn't wear a short skirt, you wouldn't have been raped. If you weren't wearing a hoodie, or, you know, according to Anthony Mackie, if you didn't have dreadlocks, you wouldn't have been racially profiled. This leaves no accountability for the racist, you know, and sexist in terms of rape culture. This leaves no accountability for the racist and sexist systems that are in place, you know, on a systematic level. And this puts the full burden of responsibility onto the victim. And that really makes me upset. Instead of examining what led up to the rape or what led up to the racial profile, what systems were in play, what type of culture, you know, again, rape culture and shit like that, stereotypes was in play, we just chalk it up to individual incidents. We just say you had to have done something wrong and that's why that happened to you. And that makes me fucking furious. It really does, you know. I saw a really great Janet Mock Bell Hooks panel because I'm just obsessed with their panels. They did this series of panels over at the New School in New York that were just so insanely good. I watched them taking handwriting, like taking notes. I felt like I was sitting in a classroom. But they had a great panel where Janet Mock says that people do this respectability politics bullshit as a defense mechanism because then they can feel safe. You know, if we're talking about individual incidents and if we're talking about individuals that did something wrong and brought this on themselves, we can feel safe because we would never do that. You know, Anthony Mackie saying to his nephew, do you want to be seen as a problem because of your dreadlocks? Don't grow dreads and you will never be put in that situation. We can feel safe because we would never do that. But once we're talking about oppressive systems that are in place, then it can happen to anyone, regardless. And that's a scary feeling. So you have people that want to bury their heads in the sand and come up with all these respectability politics. And I know, like, it's scary and you don't want to think like, oh my God, it could happen to me. But we have to face reality. We have to live in reality. We're living in the real world, and these are real issues that are affecting people, and you have to look at the bigger picture. So I was reading a message board that I like to frequent where they were discussing this, and there were some really interesting conversations going on, and a lot of people identified with what Anthony Mackie was saying as a part of survival skills. So I'm going to read you guys. I have some stuff written down here that I'm going to read you. One comment said, I simply stated that I get what Anthony, was saying. Pick your battles. Path of least resistance in this case is best. Is it bullshit that we can't choose to drive, dress, express ourselves how we want? Very much so. But as Black people, we either learn to operate or you become a cautionary tale. It's not blaming the victim. It's camouflage, which I feel like is a really important word. It's camouflage on how to lower your chances of becoming the victim. Why drive an Impala or a Charger when you know it heightens your chances of getting pulled over? You want to fly below the radar. Somebody responded to that comment with, so you're literally telling me I shouldn't have nice things as a Black person because white people don't want or expect me to have them, which is what you're saying. People say this like camouflage and this and that, and it's like you're basically saying, well, we have to play into these rules, these respectability politics that other people, and by other people, I mean white people, don't have to play into, you know? On some, well, that's the way it's always been, and that's just the way it is, and we should just go with the flow, you know? My thoughts, I feel like I've seen these arguments used again and again about camouflage, but it's just like, how is that appropriate, you know? And how far do we allow that to go? One day it's wearing hoodies. One day it's wearing natural hair and dreadlocks. One day is being Black while driving a nice car. One day is just being Black. What are we going to do? Fucking scrub our skin and like get our color off? Like, these are all deflections from the real issue, which is being Black in America, period. That's the issue, you know? And again, instead of examining the systems that are in place and the stereotypes that make white people feel afraid when they see a Black person with dreadlocks, or what makes them suspicious when they see a Black person driving a nice car, People that play into these respectability politics are putting the onus on the victim to camouflage themselves to fit in and make white people comfortable. The idea is still that white people are the bosses, white people are the norm, we're not equals, we have to fit in with them. We have to fit in to some white standard to be seen as human, you know? And that's fucking problematic. And it's so offensive to me to encourage people to do that, you know? Like, people like Anthony Mackie and Kendrick Lamar and all these other motherfucking new Blackians of the Coon Clan are just, they're not thinking critically about, again, the bigger issues. They're not looking at the bigger picture. They're looking at the sucker on the tentacle instead of looking at the whole fucking octopus. Like I have said in so many videos, it's so easy to just say, just fit in and you won't get killed. But like, what is fitting in? Who decides that black people wearing dreads and driving nice cars are not fitting in? Fitting into what? Fitting into stereotypes? Fitting into the rules that white people have placed on us? You know, this white gaze of respectability is the bigger motherfucking issue, you know? And imagine if the roles were reversed, right? Like, imagine if every time I saw a white person, I was like, listen, white males between the ages of 18 and 45 are statistically the most likely to be domestic terrorists. So before I let you enter into any space where I'm present, I'm going to need you to empty out your pockets and strip naked so I can be sure you don't have any semi-automatic weapons on your person. I'm going to just like need you to do that before you can like be around me, right? They would look at me like I was fucking crazy. They'd be like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? But this is literally what we're expected to do as black people. It's crazy. It's absurd, you know? And I've also seen another argument, again, besides like the camouflage fitting in thing, which is like, oh, again, like it's a preventative measure. It's like wearing a seatbelt in a car to prevent injury, you know? Like, people are really trying to make it seem like fitting in with white people is some kind of like preventative measure to being killed. And that's just like so fucking like sick to me, like sick in the head, you know? Cars are not designed to kill people. Cars are designed to transport you from point A to point B. They're not designed to kill you. We're talking about systems. There are systems in place in this country that are designed to kill black people. When a black person is killed by a cop, by an armed citizen, by a vigilante, it's not an accident. It's part of a larger design. It's part of a system. When a black person is locked up in jail and given a disproportionate amount of jail time for drugs, even though statistics have shown us that white people do more drugs in this country, it's not a fucking accident. It's not a coincidence. It's part of a larger system. When black people are poor and are living in poverty because they are trapped in certain neighborhoods and they're not receiving a certain education and they can't get good jobs because they're black, because they have a black name or something like that, that's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. It's part of a system. It's part of a larger design. It's a system doing its job. You can't take preventative measures against a system doing its job. Like in the movie Speed, he goes, a bomb is built to explode. Anything you do to try to stop the bomb from exploding is going against the nature of the bomb. You're trying to stop the bomb from becoming. These are not preventative measures, you know? It's not like wearing a seatbelt. Wearing a seatbelt is meant to prevent an accident while you're doing what the car is meant to do, get from point A to point B. These systems are not accidental, you know? And that's why we need to talk about systems and not just individual incidents and respectability politics and camouflage and preventative measures, because you can't prevent what the system is designed for, okay? It's like if you're strapped in a guillotine, a helmet isn't going to help you, right? A helmet's not going to do shit for you if you're strapped in a guillotine, right? Like, think about it. And I have some other comments here that I really liked. That I'm just going to read to you guys really quick. I'm not trying to be welcomed any fucking where. It's ridiculous. I have to be welcomed to work, shop, have dinner, see a movie, and drive home in peace in a country that I was born in. That sounds so far beyond crazy that I can't comprehend it. Exactly. We're talking about fitting in and camouflaging ourselves in a country that we were born in. We're Americans. Why do we have to camouflage ourselves to fit in? Fit into what? Shit's wild. Another one, I do what I please without apologizing for my blackness and not giving a second thought to white people's insecurities. Black people have been in America since 1513. They need therapy if they're still uncomfortable and don't understand how to interact with other humans just because we are darker than they are. Hello. What are the limits? Is it simply not using black vernacular outside of groups of familiarity? Or will you simply not say anything to the white colleague who makes the offensive black joke because you don't want to be viewed negatively? Everyone wants to be accepted, but at what cost? What are you willing to sacrifice to be welcomed? You know, when will some of y'all get tired of being told what you need to do, look like, dress, etc. to be seen as humans? That comment is the point. That right there is the point about respectability politics. You have an entire sect of people, black people, that are literally willing to pander to white people to be seen as human beings. Like, it's crazy. It's literally insane. If a white person said, you have to fucking lick my toes to be seen as a human, they would probably do it. And they would be the ones going on TV talking about, all you have to do is just lick their toes. Like, just lick their toes. Like, just play along and lick their toes and camouflage. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, they have literally accepted being second-class citizens. They have literally accepted being assigned rules just to live in this country as a black American. Like, it's fucking disgusting to me. Like, it's so appalling. I'm so appalled. My Kanye West voice. Like, the amount of self-hate that you have to have, it just has to be off the charts. Like, seriously. And I'm not making videos about respectability politics anymore because it just disgusts me, honestly. It's fucking disgusting. So, you know, add Anthony Mackie to your lists. He's going on my list. Maybe I'll do a list video where I'll just have names scroll down and people that you can't fuck with. Because it's just crazy. It's just crazy. You can't have any self-respect. You cannot have any self-respect. Respect yourselves. Respect yourselves. You built this country, black people. Fucking respect yourselves. So for anyone that had asked me, someone had asked me on Instagram, and you know, what is this Anthony Mackie thing? So now you guys have a video about it. I'm so over it. I'm just so over these new blacks and these respectability politics. Like, y'all might want to lick these white people's toes to be seen as human beings, but I'm not the one. Dreads and all, tats and all. I am who I am. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think about the protest recap. Happy Wednesday, hump day. You guys are halfway through the week, and I'll see you guys next time. Food for thought as always. Peace.